Commission, I welcome you to this interview.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
And welcome. My name is Machare Njero. I'm the Vice Chair.
Thank you.
Patrick Ishohi, karibu sana.
Thank you, Commissioner.
David Majanja, Commissioner and High Court Judge.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Oluwande Evelyn, Chief Magistrate and Commissioner. You are welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Good afternoon, Jacqueline Ngutia, Advocate. Commissioner, welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Olive Mugeda, Commissioner. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mohamed Warsame, karibu.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Welcome. My name is Justice Mohammed Ibrahim of Supreme Court. I represent that court in this commission. Karibu tena.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioners, for that introduction. Before we begin the formal interview, I will ask Mr. Otieno to tell us the county where he comes from and your ethnicity.
Yes, my county is Homa Bay, and my ethnicity is Luo.
You know why we ask that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming. I will ask you to make yourself very comfortable. You have some water if you so wish. Commissioners will ask you questions, and if you want to seek clarification before you answer, you will be at liberty to do that, because we want to have a very interactive session with you. I will begin by asking you to briefly tell the Commission about yourself, stating your background, your academic and professional qualifications, your work experience, and please remember to highlight some of the key achievements that you think make you suitable for the position you have applied for, Judge of the High Court.
Yes, thank you, Chief Justice. My name is Ado Moses Otieno. I hold a Bachelor's of Law from the University of Nairobi. I also hold a Master's of Law from Lund University, Sweden, in tax, specializing in international tax. Currently I work at the Kenya Revenue Authority, where I'm the manager in charge of dispute resolution, that is ADR. Previously, I'd worked in litigation, prosecution, and also policy and advisory. Madam Chief Justice, my legal training commenced 23 years ago when I was accepted to join the University of Nairobi. Upon graduation, I then proceeded to pupillage, which I did at the law firm of Singitau and Company Advocates. Then proceeded to holding over in the firm of Senior Clifford Rachuonyo. That's the firm of Rachuonyo and Rachuonyo. My lady, it's while at Rachuonyo when I was admitted, that was in the year 2005. I then saw an opportunity after serving for around 6 months in the firm of Rachuonyo as an associate to join Kenya Revenue Authority as a graduate trainee. I then relinquished my position at Rachuonyo and proceeded to Kenya Revenue Authority, where I joined as a graduate trainee. My lady, this was a 2-year training program which involved classwork and desk work as well. At the end of it, I was awarded with a certificate in tax and customs administration. My lady, I was thereafter posted to legal services department, where that is the litigation section. While at litigation, I handled a number of matters. Actually, I served in litigation for 10 years. So in the in different tax head, my lady, for instance, I did matters involving customs. In customs, I did matters involving fraudulent clearance of goods, which was very rampant then when I joined. The first matter I handle in that area, my lady, is that's the leading decision, actually, the precedent setting decision in this country. I have provided one of the matters, that is the matter of Artex EPZ, but before then I did the matter of African Boot, which the matter of Artex, my lady went to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal confirmed my argument, which Justice Majanja in his court had upheld. Another related matter in that area, my lady, sorry, is the matter of African Boot, as well as matter of Reddington. Reddington also went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal affirmed that decision. In the area of exemptions under the customs law, there is a matter which I handled, which was very interesting, and it talks to the interpretation of tax statutes under the exemption of motor vehicles for disabled persons. I did not give it's not one of the writings I provided, but it involved a blind person. The law required that exemption would be given if the motor vehicle is specifically designed for the use of the disabled, and another requirement was that the disabled must have a driving license. Now, the disabled in this case was blind. So when he applied to enjoy the exemption, he was told, sorry, under the law, these are the requirements. And in tax statutes, we have been advised that they must be strictly interpreted. So then the matter was brought, and when the matter was brought, we looked at the matter. Finally, the taxpayer had actually taken us to court, but then we said, now, this is a case that requires to look at the purpose, not the strict interpretation of the case. And that matter, I'm happy to report that we resolved it. With advice to the management that this is the spirit of the law is to actually aid persons living with disabilities, and if this law is to be strictly applied, then it therefore means that the disabled would not enjoy, then would defeat the whole purpose. If I would move to another area of law, living customs, I would move to the area of income tax. And income tax, I would specifically specify the issue of transfer pricing. Transfer pricing is a very, very technical area. And it's an area that the first decision that was rendered in this country was by Justice Wisram in 2006. And even in that decision, the judge noted that the law governing transfer pricing legislation was inadequate. Transfer pricing, my lady, involves the artificial shifting of profit by multinational enterprises from the country to from jurisdictions with less tax rates or nil. It's a common practice. There have been reports where you find corporates paying much less, in fact sometimes less than the employees, as a result of artificial profit shifting. My lady, I took interest in this area, and it is because of that then I applied to do a master's. I was lucky, I was awarded scholarship by the Swedish government through the Swedish Institute to study tax law at Lund University. While at Lund University, I continued my interest. In fact, my dissertation was in the area of resolving transfer pricing disputes with specific reference to advanced pricing agreements. It's one of the writings, my lady, which I've supplied there. the training in tax exposed actually at my master's in Europe exposed me a lot, not only in the area of transfer pricing, but it also extended to the area of value-added tax. And one of the principles that I learned actually, because in Europe they have one VAT law, which is administered, it's uniform, it's administered the whole of the EU. And in as much as the individual countries administer their respective statutes, the European Court of Justice, my lady, which I had occasion to visit and study their workings, also review those decisions. It's called reference, my lady. So when I came back, I found a case in the area of the value-added tax about and actually also included income tax. It was transfer of property under the value-added tax. Commercial property is subject to VAT. Now here we had a company which had bought another company, but the major underlying asset was a building which was almost $1 billion. So then the care officials where I work studied the transactions and felt like, no, in this transaction the main reason, actually the main item, the main subject of this transaction is the transfer of the building, and then therefore VAT on commercial rent therefore kicks in. The taxpayer, of course, was of a different view. They said, no, we have just bought shares. My lady, that there is a principle called composite supplies, where you supply 2 or more items, but of which one is exempt, the other one is not. So which law do you apply? So my lady, that's an area which I greatly contributed, and we made contribution. Then they another area.
I think those are now going into the technical area,
Very well.
which I think the commissioners would like to ask you specific questions when we get to the other areas. Now, you
Thank
are
you.
a practitioner in tax and quite specialized, an area that we commend you for your specialization. Now you're shifting to decision making, and I want you to tell us how you're going to navigate this and what principles are going to guide you in decision making. In particular, I want to zero in on the independence, the principle of independence.
Yes. Thank you, my lady. The principle in independence talks to the ability of a decision maker to make decision purely based on the law and the facts. My lady, if I give an example, like where I work, currently I'm in charge of alternative dispute resolution at Kenya Revenue Authority, where in most cases, actually in all, one of the parties is Kenya Revenue Authority, my employer. On the other is the taxpayer. My lord, my lady, this requires independence. So then you do justice not only without really taking sides. If we look at the case of the blind taxpayer indicated, the officers who applied and administered the law as is had taken a position that the law as is does not permit this. But again, in independent evaluation of the facts and in circumstances of the case, as a lawyer, I was able to give advice that Well, the spirit of the law requires that we don't have to collect tax from this taxpayer. This taxpayers enjoys the benefit of the law.
So do you know of the Mbangaro principles and the key principles that are enunciated there, the Mbangaro principles?
Yes, my lady.
Mm-hmm.
I know the principle of integrity. I know the principle of impartiality. I know the principle of competence. I know the principle of equality. I know the principle of propriety.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, you can also tell us, you've just been dealing with tax, very specialized, a great area in law. But now, if you are successful, you're going to deal with family matters, you're going to deal with criminal matters, you're going to deal with judicial review and so many other things that you're going to deal with, not just one area of specialization. What principle is going to guide you in decision making, in determining all these disputes that will come before you?
My lady, I would say principle of competence. As an advocate, my lady, I am trained in law, and in as much as I have concentrated and actually focused in area of tax law, I have also equally done a lot of judicial review matters. I have done petitions. My lady, I have done prosecution, tax prosecution, and other matters, my lady. So I am rounded in law.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next set of questions will be asked by Justice Ibrahim.
Thank you.
Welcome again, Mr. Moses Otieno Ado. This commission and this process is very open to all qualified, to all those who meet the prerequisites to be a judge of the High Court, and you are eligible to become one. But Mr. Otieno, it's a fact that you have never practiced law. Am I right? Practice in like private practice?
No, I haven't much.
You have not appeared in court?
I've appeared in court, my lady, my lord. That is what I do.
Oh, in the judiciary?
Yes, for 10 years I was in litigation. We appeared for Kenya Revenue Authority. What happens is that most of our matters we litigate internally. Yeah. So I have appeared in court a number of times, my
up to the High Court?
Up to the Court of Appeal, my lord.
Okay, great. Yes. On the other hand, but we also note that you have never been in the. I also note that you have never been in the judiciary. What I'm trying to say that you will be expected of so much that you're not in the judiciary as a magistrate or in any other capacity in any tribunal, and also practicing full time. Your practicing has been very specialized. The High Court is a very important and high job, a very wide perspective. In terms of leadership, what kind of attributes do you have that can show you can come into the judiciary at that level of High Court and take leadership not only in your decision making but in other aspects too?
Thank you, Judge, for the question. My leadership attributes, my lord, has been expressed mainly, apart from appearing in court, I have been in charge of a number of divisions of the Kenya Revenue Authority. My lord, in the year 2018, I was one of the 2 advocates which were tasked by the Kenya Revenue Authority to operationalize prosecution of tax offenders within the authority. Prior to that, prosecution of tax offenses was being done through the DPP. But then we looked at the law, we said there is a provision in the law that allows, that the parliament has given KRAs powers to prosecute. So then what we did, my lord, is that I, together with my team leader, we designed a program, case referral guidelines, case selection criteria, so then we would be able then to lead a team to do the exercise. We commenced with Nairobi, we devolved it to Mombasa and Kisumu, and eventually to Nyeri, my lord.
There are many challenges in the judiciary, but before that, challenges in terms of we, the judiciary, having challenges whereby we need quite a lot of leadership. We have the vision and mission of the judiciary, which, and one of the vision and the mission of the judiciary at the moment, through the Honorable Chief Justice, when she launched her vision, and the one for the judiciary, the vision that, and you must have heard about it, it's called STAJ, Judiciary's Social Transformation Through Access to Justice. We tax and resolution of tax disputes are very major important area for us, and particularly for the industry and for the income generating aspects of society. What role have you played to assist Kenyans to have access to justice, even in your tax tribunals?
Thank you, my lord, for that question. In my role as Kenya, as a manager in charge of dispute resolution, my lord, is that I have led a number of matters from the Tax Appeals Tribunal, from the High Court, and some even from the Court of Appeal back to ADR, where we have resolved a number of cases. That way, we not only get revenue for the country, but we also give taxpayers the certainty that they need. Because, my lord, as you realize, as you continue to have a tax dispute, you cannot have any meaningful business. So that, my lord, is what I would give as an example.
From your from where you sit and having served for such a long time at the KRA, what do you think are the ideas that you could bring with your lenses from the KRA sector and the tax sector and the economy sector? What do you propose? What changes do you think you'll be able to bring to the judiciary? In terms of leadership, particularly.
Yes, my lord, as given my experience with tax matters, I would, in my view, be a resource, not only in the bench, but in my view, I would also be a resource even in the Judicial Academy, which is a key pillar, one of the key pillars in the Chief Justice STAJ blueprint.
Yes. This during COVID time, how did you carry out? How did you manage and carry out the dispute resolution? Did you have online sessions? Was there any role technology played?
Yes, my lord. Technology played a lot. Most of our meetings, initially before COVID, we were doing physical meetings, which then at times we used to adjourn, and it was really making us to not to progress matters. When COVID came, there was a bit of disruption, but then when we settled on technology, we realized that it is even better, it's even faster, and to date, we still embrace technology in dispute resolution matters. And the other thing we have done with technology is even when we are reviewing matters, because one of the things we acknowledge is that sometimes it's good to review online, virtual. Documents are uploaded, you review there, and you make a decision without the documents having to be sent physically to your office, my lord.
Okay, and lastly, from your perspective, and wishing to come to the judiciary, and which we really wish you all the best, what is the role of the judiciary in national development?
My lord, judiciary creates certainty. The principle of stare decisis, that is precedence, sets the law clear. When the law is clear, then investors actually have confidence, because they are very certain that the consequences of their investments. So to that extent, to the extent that the judiciary makes the law clear, contributes to national development. Two, judiciary resolves disputes. Because of disputes creates uncertainty, and no uncertainty is good for business. My lord, that's
yes.
what I will give now.
If I may add just one more question. In your decisions that you have obtained from the High Court, not only you, in the cases you're handling yourself,
Yeah.
but also cases handled by your colleagues in the High Court, in the Court of Appeal, where the court decides against KRA, and there is even aspects of recommendation of change, reforms to the legislation. To what extent have you conformed?
My lord, where judiciary has decided against the KRA and given recommendations, what we have done budget proposals every year. My lord, we do budget proposals to Treasury, and a number of them have actually been incorporated in the finance bills that come to correct the errors and the issues identified by
so
the
you have
judiciary.
accepted the decisions and the recommendations of the judiciary?
Yes, we have accepted a number. Essentially, we have accepted. There are cases which have been decided against us in the lower court. We have taken. There are some we have taken on appeal, and even when we take such cases on appeal, internally we also sit and review those cases to see whether we really need to have them on appeal, or we can actually adopt a different approach.
Thank you very much, Mr. Otieno.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next set of questions will be asked by Commissioner Macharia.
Okay, just 3 questions. The first one is, you know, I would be interested in knowing from you what motivates you into wanting to join the High Court, you know, because you seem to be doing quite okay where you are at KRA, where you are contributing to, you know, the economy through the services you are rendering at KRA. But what is this, you know, drive that makes you want to go to cross over to the judiciary?
Thank you. Judiciary, in my view, would give me a bigger platform to administer justice, and also to create jurisprudence. Their decision I make, when I am an officer of the Kenya Revenue Authority, but then they're just that. But when I join the judiciary, then my decisions become rulings, they become judgments, they are read, they are deliberated on publicly, and that way then I not only contribute in the development of jurisprudence, but I will also get the opportunity to serve Kenyans at a larger scale.
Okay.
Thank
Now,
you.
my next question is, you've said that you've been a litigator, though as an employee of a KRA. So it means then that you've interacted a lot with with our court environment.
Yes.
Now, would you state what are the issues, what are the challenges that you've encountered that you feel that if you became a judge, these are the things that you would do differently in terms of particularly ensuring that this efficient dispensation of justice?
Thank you. One of the challenges I've encountered is the delay in the solution of disputes. There are a number. Cases take quite some time to have them resolved. So one of the things I would do if I get the opportunity to join the judiciary is to ensure that at least I contribute towards eliminating the delay. Eliminating the delay in terms of having my matters expeditiously decided. And I think one what I would do in that case is to in that situation is to ensure that I don't create backlog, because one of the things which I've noted to be a major problem is the backlog issue, because matters are started and then they new matters come before you clear these other ones. So then one of the things I would do is to deploy effective case management to ensure, one, I don't create backlog. Then two, the backlog that is already there, I need to create a mechanism of dealing with that backlog to ensure.
Yeah, that's okay. You've said it generally.
Thank you.
Just very briefly, give us the specifics. How would you go about that case management and ensuring there's no backlog? What are these techniques that you're going to apply as a judge? One,
in case management, one of the initial things is the pre-trial conference. During that period, I will be able to identify which matters really need to go to trial. Some of the litigants who come to court, I would say they come to court in the heat of the moment, but when you have chance to discuss with them, then such cases I would recommend and have them taken either to mediation or such other mechanisms. I would also ensure that timelines are complied with. Order 11 gives us that room. What I would ensure is that I take charge of the proceedings, not allowing litigants or advocates dragging the matter unnecessarily long within specific set timelines.
Now, my final question, one of the greatest challenges, not just in the judiciary but also in most of the positions, public positions, is the issue of integrity. Now, demonstrate to us how you've dealt with the issues of integrity and why you think that for us as a commission should trust you enough to give you the position of a judge. And again, I don't want general statements, just give us very specific examples of where your integrity has been tested and how you've dealt with it, and for that reason we should be able to trust you to become a judge.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner, for that question. Integrity in the nature of my work at Kenya Revenue Authority, be it prosecution of tax offenders or alternative dispute resolution, integrity is an ever-present challenge. What I have done as an individual is to ensure that I do the right thing, and number two is to remind myself of the Constitution, what it requires, and three, I have what we have, I'm actually a member of the Departmental Corruption Prevention Committee. What I have done is to ensure that we do corruption and bribery and corruption risk assessment to identify areas, and also to sensitize staff. Actually, it's a matter in the PC, my PC, and in the PC of the people that I work with. But over and above that, we have regular staff meetings where we inculcate it as a culture, not just a compliance issue, but to ensure that it's a culture. So as an individual, I have inculcated in me as a culture, because I know corruption undermines the integrity of the work and the service delivery.
Okay,
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you very much. The next set of questions will be asked by Commissioner Justice Wasame.
Thank you, Honorable CJ. Mr. Otieno, you have talked about your stint at KRA and your contribution therein. From my reading, KRA has more than 10 complicated tax regimes, very complicated tax regimes. What have you done to ensure the tax law is not punitive, first of all, and secondly, it is easy for taxpayers?
Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. I agree. Tax statutes are so many and they are technical. Now, what I have done as an individual, and I thank my employer for that, is that I'm part of the team. Actually, I was part of the team that crafted and developed the Tax Procedures Act and the Tax Appeals Tribunal Act. Now, the Tax Procedures Act it was an attempt to consolidate the procedural aspects of all the tax laws into one statute, and that was we did it under the East African community. It was supported by the World Bank and IMF. My team leader is the current Commissioner of Legal, Mr. Paul Matuku. What we did is to ensure that we actually condensed the tax procedures in one statute.
Not the tax procedures. I'm talking about the act, the tax itself.
Yes.
Because, for example, you have rental residential income, VAT, excise duty, capital gains tax. You have agency revenue. You have stamp duty. You have betting and pool, and many other tax corporation, pay as you earn, withholding tax, corporation tax, dividend tax, royalties, professional fees, commissions, pensions, rent recovered, received or recovered from non-residents. The point I'm asking is, what have you done during your stint to reduce these taxes, the various heads and the various legislations, into one, which is understandable and which is not punitive? Very simple. Tell me, this is what you have done and this is what you are not able to do.
My Lord, what we have done is to simplify. Actually, we normally give public notices to clarify issues which appear complicated. One case was the issue of capital gains tax. We clarified, and we also engage our stakeholders, because stakeholder it's important that they get to understand what they
I don't know whether you're understanding my question.
Sorry.
For example, you have two types of rent.
Yes.
Rent received from residential houses.
Yes.
The upper part is residential.
Yes.
The lower part is commercial.
Yes.
But there are two different tax that apply.
Yes.
To make it simple, because it's one building, what have you done, for example, to ensure? And initially you talked about the conflict when the advocates are transferring properties. There is capital gain, and there is VAT, and there's also another one which you talked about.
Yes.
What have you done, for example, to say if you are transferring a property, you only pay VAT or you pay capital gains? Or in one house or one building, you pay 10% on all buildings, whether one room is commercial and the rest, the 99% is rental. That's what I'm asking. What have you done during your stint?
Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. In my view, that boils to the legal regime, Commissioner, because the legal regime are different. And Commissioner, as KRA, we administer the law. And the way even the taxes are calculated are totally different, such that if we are, for instance, to charge VAT on commercial property and what I would call income tax, there would be a disharmony in the manner in which...
You have been there for quite some time now.
Yes.
And you have said you have done this, you have done this. What steps, for example, have you proposed? KRA is not here, but you are here as a legal officer. What steps have you proposed to simplify all these legal regimes? That's what I'm asking.
My Lord, the legal regimes in tax, actually there are just three main legal regimes. It's either VAT, income tax, or VAT, and maybe importation tax, but I would leave the importation because it deals with imported goods. But there are three main: VAT, income tax. Those are the major legal regime. The others, my Lord, are items subject to tax.
Okay,
it could
let's
be
move to
yes.
the next item because we are not communicating.
Thank you.
This is a statement. The right to choose does not belong in the hands of 6 old men and a woman who is in a liberal Christian cult. What's your view?
Sorry, my Lord, maybe you come up again.
A statement was made. I'm just reading the statement. The right to choose does not belong in the hands of 6 old men and a woman who is in a liberal Christian cult. What is your view in respect of that statement? The right to life.
My Lord, the right to life, in my view, is provided.
Do you agree with that statement, first of all? Yes or no? Then proceed.
Sorry, I didn't get that question, what it actually means. But yes, I agree that the right to life is provided in the Constitution, and which binds all of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have not stated whether you... Again, let's come to another area which maybe is not familiar with you. Section 14 of the Matrimonial Property Act has certain principles. Tell us those principles.
I may need to look that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's come to this is my last question.
Thank you.
There are 2 ingredients you must prove in a criminal trial for you to sustain, as a prosecutor, a conviction. Isn't it?
Yes, my Lord.
But there are certain offenses which you do not need to prove mens rea or intention. Tell us 2. And that's my last question, and I wish you well.
Thank you, my Lord. I would cite possession of a stolen property.
You need both.
Yes, it sounds like driving without a license. Basically, they are strict. Is it strict liability offenses where you don't need to prove mens rea? Yeah.
I wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable CJ.
Judge Wasame, the next set of questions will be asked by Commissioner Justice Majanja.
Thank you very much, Chair, Chief Justice, and welcome, Mr. Ado. I have had the opportunity of listening to you making your arguments before me over several years. I just want to ask you a few questions relating to the writings and other issues. I've noted your writings. You write well. I can see on matters of your expertise, and I will not begrudge you on that.
Thank you.
When you come to the High Court, and I hope you will find that matters of law, succession law, comprise 20% of your portfolio.
Yes.
So it's important. It's an important aspect of our law.
Thank you.
So can you just tell us, if on the first day you are told to confirm a grant, the things you would be looking for before you confirm the grant? Somebody comes and say, now I want to confirm the grant. What are you looking for at that stage?
What I would want to look at, in my view, are the beneficiaries, the list of beneficiaries, the list of properties, and whether the procedures have been complied with in terms of gazetting, the period that is required under the law. Yeah, that's what.
But it's one important thing you haven't told us. You have seen the beneficiaries, you have seen the properties. What is the key issue at the time of confirmation?
That there is an agreement. There is no dispute in terms of the proposed
mode of sharing.
The mode of sharing.
So you have to be satisfied.
Exactly.
Okay,
Thank you.
That's good. Another area you'll be dealing with mainly is the issue of criminal cases.
Yeah.
If you go out of Nairobi, 40%, 50% of your work will be criminal appeals.
Yeah.
And one of the things all people who appeal in their grounds, in their petitions of appeal, the last ground there will be that the learned magistrate imposed a sentence that was harsh and excessive. That will always be, and you can take this to the bank. It was harsh and excessive. So can you tell us what factors you'd be looking into to determine whether a sentence is harsh or excessive, or harsh and excessive?
Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. I will look at the facts, the law, the circumstances, and any mitigation to that effect. I would also make reference to the sentencing policy. Thank you.
And what is the general guiding principle if you have to interfere with the sentence? What is the principle?
I would say that the sentence meted out must be, I would say, commensurate.
Or put it this way, let me put it the question another way. Would you overturn the sentence merely because you feel you would have imposed a different sentence?
No, I would not do that.
So what is that expression we use in the law? What is that principle?
Sorry, I think that has escaped me.
The appellate principle. Maybe you familiarize yourself with it. And
Yes.
finally, again, just if you come to the High Court, you will be dealing with many appeals, and some of which you know. What do we mean when we say this appeal is limited only to questions of law? What is the extent of your jurisdiction?
Questions of law, actually, it's even under the income tax, it says appeal to the High Court is a question of law. Question of law would involve, one, the interpretation of the law and the legislation, the legal aspects of it. Question of law would also entail the conclusions that the trial court arrived at based on the facts that they were given. what I think I'm trying to remember the third one. It is what it's in. It's the technical, practical, and evidentiary. I would put them that.
And what is that case you are talking about from the Supreme Court?
Gitaru Munya. I remember.
Okay.
Thank you.
That is good.
Yes.
And finally, and this is just following up from what my colleague has been talking about. You do a lot of ADR in at the Kenya Revenue Authority, but I'm just saying, because this is information we hear or we get, that in fact this is not ADR, because ADR, like mediation, assumes an independent mediator, so that your ADR is actually a form of I don't want to use that because it will be the headline tomorrow. The people who come there say, no, this is not, you're sending us to ADR, but this is just a form of KRA railroading us to resolve disputes. Is that criticism well founded?
I don't agree with that. What we do is facilitated mediation. In fact, it is the taxpayers. In most cases, there are instances where KRA requests for ADR on review, but in most cases, the application is made by the taxpayer, and they set the grounds which they want to rely on. And actually, in most cases, it's based on very objective criteria. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, and I wish you well.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. Next set of questions will be asked by Commissioner Ngutia.
Thank you, Chief Justice. I've also gone through your sample writing, and I like that you were able to share with us legal opinion, your master's paper, and a number of court documents, and I must confirm that they are well written. I have two questions. Allow me to quote one Jeremy Bentham, who is an English philosopher, and he had this to say: publicity is the very soul of justice. It is to publicity more than to everything else that the English system of procedure owes its least bad system as yet, instead of being the worst. Meaning, it is important that justice, the public are able to engage with the justice system. And if you look at the concept of open justice, it promotes transparency, civic participation, and public accountability to the justice system. Our constitution, under Article 50D, the trial process should be done in public within courts established by the Constitution. If you look at the current online system, do you think they do promote open justice? Because the judiciary then restricts who can access the courts.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. In my view, it actually promotes open justice. I am not aware that the judiciary restricts who can happen, because who can join, because I know the link is sent. There are instances where even the litigants themselves can join, and through that link, in my understanding, I believe any other person who is interested in that matter would be able to join. I do not, I say so with the caution that I do not know what happens on the other side, but in my understanding is that once the linking is there, anyone can join.
So no one should restrict members of the public accessing the online court system?
In my view, yes, unless there are valid reasons for doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
My second question is with regards to the application of customary law in Kenya. We still don't have laws that guide burial disputes. And for a long time, we have been using the SM Otieno case, the Virginia Wamboi versus Joash Otieno and another, with regards to application of customary law in burial dispute, do you think the decision has a place in the current constitutional dispensation?
Sorry, I may not be able to remember exactly what the decision was, but I know with the new constitution, with the current constitution, if I may, things have changed, and there is equality of both genders, both in marriage, during marriage, and even in the dissolution of marriage. And I believe that would that should even extend to burial issues. Yeah.
Thank you. That would.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Gishohi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just 2 or 3 questions to Mr. Otieno. And you want to join judiciary as a judge, you'll be a state officer.
Thank you.
A state officer, there are values and principles that are very dear to a state officer, including the ones that are in the Constitution. And I want you to focus very carefully on Article 232, on those values for any state officer, and share with us 2 of those values or principles and how you are going to promote them in your court. 2 of them.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. High standards of professional ethics. As a judge, I believe what will be required of me if I get the position, and even as a public officer, is to ensure that maintain high level of professional ethics.
Professionalism, that's one.
The other is accountability.
Good. I want you to focus on accountability.
Yeah.
And focus on the job that you have applied
Yes.
as a judge.
Yes.
How are you going to promote accountability as a judge of the High Court in Bugoma?
Thank you. I will recognize that the position of a judge, I hold it in trust of the people of Kenya. I'm accountable to the people of Kenya. Now,
that's fine. I want the strategy. What
Yes.
strategy are you going to apply to promote accountability in the Bugoma High Court as a
yes,
judge?
accountability, Commissioner, goes with ensuring that whatever you do, you ensure that you're serving people. You have a service charter.
Service
because
charter,
yes.
that's one.
Communication,
Communication.
provision of information
Okay, good.
to litigants. Yes.
Then I think I expect, as you go to the High Court, and this one you apply even in your place where you are, is to enhance skills and competence of your staff.
Yes.
Very, very important. Management.
Yeah.
Would you share with us again 2 ways that you are going to apply to enhance skills and competence of staff in your area?
What we'll do is review of work and training.
Training is one.
Yes.
Good. Another one?
I would also performance contract. I think it's important because performance contract, training, mentorship.
Good.
Yeah.
My question before I end, you talked a lot about stakeholders. Let's take it that you are now in the High Court of Kenya. Would you share with us 2 key stakeholders for that High Court? Key stakeholders, 2 of them.
Thank you. One, I would mention the Law Society of Kenya.
Law Society of Kenya, yes.
I would also single out government agencies like the DPP.
Good, DPP. Let's focus on the Director of Public Prosecution.
Yes.
How are you going to promote partnership with that office as a judge?
One, I would ensure we have constant engagement through structured means, stakeholder engagements in terms of court users, because he's one of the
Court users. Yes. Good. Another one?
is it bar bench? I would also because DPP and the and the advocate, you must engage them through the bar bench and the court users committee.
Okay.
Yes.
Finally, Madam Chair, allow me to ask this question. That's my last question. And it's current affairs and something that is topical now about having Kenya Revenue Service as opposed to Kenya Revenue Authority. What are your thoughts about it and why?
In my view, it's a very good thing.
And I want you to focus on the last ones, authority and service.
Yes, it's a very good service. It's a very good thing because when the term authority basically feels like it's a force as opposed to a service provider. Kenya Revenue Authority is it must be responsive to the needs of the public as a service provider. So in my view, it will not only change the name, but it...
Why now? 10 years. Why now? And I want you to focus, you say in your opening remarks,
yes,
principle of fairness came from your own mouth.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
Why?
Yes, Commissioner, it's something that I think started way back in 2018. And again, as society change and evolve, there is the constant need to ensure that we become, as an organization, to be responsive to the needs of the society.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Mr. Otieno.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next set of questions will be asked by Commissioner Professor Mugenda.
Thank you, CJ. Mr. Otieno, I'm reading your how you have described yourself, and I can see you have said you are an A student, and you have also said you have first-rate intellectual ability, you have high intellect, distinguished tax lawyers. A very good way of describing yourself. Do you have any challenges? Because you look like everything is good.
Yes, I do, but I always try to focus on the positive side of things. Yes.
So when you say an A student, and I know this, it's just for me to know, is it because of your academic credentials in high school, at the university?
Yes, to me it talks about the way I perceive myself in grasping issues. I get issues fast, and I'm a fast learner. Then I think that feeds into
a student.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So what have you learned in the course of your duties as a tax expert, which you add value to your work as a judge if you're successful?
Thank you. As an employee in the public service, I think it's one thing that have given me a lot of experience and values in terms of public service. The value of efficiency, public trust and integrity. I think those are core things which I would be able to bring to the judiciary, and of course the competence bit of it. Yeah.
Okay, my last question, Mr. Otieno, is judges, as you are aware, come across issues, with kind of ethical dilemma. And KRA, I'm sure you have also come across issues which have, maybe ethically challenged too.
Sorry.
Have you come across issues that have challenged you in terms of ethics? And how have you handled those issues?
Ethical dilemma, maybe.
Ethical dilemma, I mean things that come in front of you, and maybe you are tempted to make judgments certain ways, and you have to really be strong.
Yes, thank you for that clarification, Commissioner. In the nature of my work, I would give example when I was doing prosecution. the law says you have to charge. Actually, I was taking people to court. Sometimes you feel for them, but again, then you look and say the law requires you to perform their duty. So your duty. So what I've done in such instances, I have had a candid engagement and discussion with the subject, and I've said, we understand you, but this is a requirement of the law, that we take you to court. You have options to defend, either to defend yourself. You have options including to apply for compounding or plea bargain. So then, to the extent that when you leave, they really understand, and there is no animosity. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you, CJ. Thank you very much. Commissioner Orwande will ask the next set of questions.
Thank you, CJ. Good afternoon again, Mr. Ado.
Good afternoon.
A lot of what I wanted to engage you on has already been covered by my colleagues, so I do not have much to ask you. I've looked at your CV. I have seen what you have done, what you've been able to achieve. I notice, especially when it comes to matters performance, you have highlighted complex cases that you've dealt with, in which cases you have succeeded, and the court has taken your position as the correct position in law. That speaks mostly to the quality of your work. In the judiciary, we want judges who are able to perform both in terms of quality and also the quantity of the work that they move. And I want to hear from you whether at KRA you have a system or a framework or a system by which you're able to gauge performance both quantitatively and qualitatively. And if you do, how you have done, because I have not seen it anywhere.
Thank you. We have a performance contracting system. The performance contracting system that we have in KRA addresses both the quantitative and qualitative aspects of the case. It addresses actually in 4 critical areas. It assesses on organizational aspects in terms of developing contracts, developing performance drafting and performance coming up with performance indicators. Then it also assesses business processes. How then do you perform in relation to the business of the organization? Then it addresses the customer aspect, and then it then addresses the technical aspect, which is now, for purposes of KRA, we call it financial. How many cases did you conclude? How much was it in terms of the revenue yield, and in terms of the quality, in terms of for instance, in the resolution of disputes that I currently do, because how effective were you in bringing the 2 parties together? That is the taxpayer. Yeah,
I see you have a very comprehensive framework, but you've not shared with us a report on how you personally have performed.
Yes, the performance, unfortunately, it's not. I did not see it as one of the requirements, but I have my performance has always been in the 90s, 100, because the mark we get 100. What I would say.
It actually wasn't put in the advert, but I thought, in your shoes, if that is the position, I would want to display it on my CV at least.
Yes, I get it. I get it. Thank you.
The other question I wanted to, it's not exactly a question, but maybe just to commend you on community service. I've seen what you've done on your CV. You've indicated that you are giving 10,000 shillings to needy students, because you also got 10,000 from the community when you're registering at the university, which is commendable. And I just want to encourage you to expand your hand. Maybe go to other places beyond Homa Bay where you are doing this.
Thank you.
Yes, the reports we are having from the ground concerning you are good. It is said you are competent in tax and revenue matters. You are well versed in the law, and you have good negotiation skills and administrative skills, which is commendable. I don't have anything to raise with you concerning the vetting documents. Everything I've seen is in order. I wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much for that interaction and for answering our questions. That brings us to the end of the interview. But before we end it, we always like to ask a candidate whether you have any question for us.
Yes, thank you. I do not have a question. What I would do, if you permit, is just a comment, and to thank you for giving me the opportunity to appear for this interview, and also to commend you for the work you do, because we understand it's a very difficult job. It's tedious. It is also very significant for the country. That's all from me.
Yes, thank you very much, and keep up the good work. We wish you well. We will get in touch with you when we complete the exercise.
Thank you.
Have a very nice day.
Thank you. Thank you.